Chapter 11. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as he was getting excited in the dark, footsteps. Wu Qi snapped his head up, alert. Through the mist, he could see dark figures hurrying towards him. Monster raid this early, that Wu Qi squinted, quickly rinsed his mouth, and stashed his stuff. By then, the black shapes in the fog were becoming clearer, a mob of 20+ humanoid monsters, decked out in horned helmets and silver armor. They clutched long spears, eyes glowing red, looking like serious trouble. Perfect timing to test out that new setup I built yesterday. And with the void crystal, summoning troops will be a breeze. Wu Qi thought for a sec, eyeing his two defense towers, the Pyroblast Tower, and Stinky Fart Tower, both have pretty good range. But up close, accuracy is naturally higher, so, Wu Qi waited until the humanoid monsters were within about 100 yards. Control first, then unleash hell, Wu Qi calmly analyzed the situation and triggered the Stinky Fart Tower. The next moment, P.S., please add this to your library. Please add this to your library. Chapter 14, Total Annihilation. SS Rank. 2/4. Please add this to your library. Gua. Gua, the humanoid monster screeched, charging forward in waves. Wu Qi glanced at the two defense towers. The Pyroblast Tower was a pretty standard elemental tower, kinda like a mage tower. At the top was a prismatic flame pumice, engraved on the pumice was a pyroblast rune. The Stinky Fart Tower looked normal enough, except the top had a humanoid stone sculpture with its butt stuck out, and get this. The sculpture was a dead ringer for Wu Qi. I swear, I'm gonna tear that thing down. Wu Qi cringed every time he saw it. He had to admit, he wasn't exactly a world traveler, but even he knew, this kind of bizarre defense tower was something else. Alright, focus on the enemy. Snapping back to reality, Wu Qi turned his attention to the approaching monsters. They were fast, covering the distance in no time, perfect range. The Pyroblast Tower could hit targets up to 500 yards away, and the Stinky Fart Tower could reach 200 yards. Of course, the closer they were, the better the accuracy. So, when the monsters were 100 yards from his fence, Wu Qi gave the order. Instantly, the stone sculpture on top of the Stinky Fart Tower shuddered and spewed out a stream of green mist, engulfing the 20-something monsters. A deafening fart sound echoed, followed by a cloud of colored mist. Wu Qi grimaced, especially with that Wu Qi sculpture looming on top of the tower. He forced himself to stay calm, watching. The monsters, soaked in weak farts, suddenly lost their aggressive edge. Stumbling around, they collapsed to the ground, completely drained. It worked like a charm. Wu Qi was surprised. His textbook said weakness spells usually just lowered attack power, or maybe slowed enemies down. This meant one thing. Weak fart was a top-tier spell. Pyroblast, fire, Wu Qi ordered, and the prismatic pumice on the Pyroblast Tower lit up. A split second later, a massive fireball materialized, 10 times bigger than the one that puny sinking demon wizard threw yesterday. Boom! The fireball hurtled through the air, trailing fire, and slammed right into the mob of monsters. Bang! The ground trembled, flames erupted, and explosions shook everything. In a heartbeat, every single monster was incinerated. Battle's over. Commencing evaluation. Battle report. Enemies, 27 level 2 Dark Hunters. Battle result, crushing victory. Rank, SS. Base reward, 27 Void Origin Stones. Bonus rewards, SS rank 200 Void Crystals. Territory building, farm, territory building, well, territory building, toilet. Nice. Wu Qi sighed in relief. Today's battle was done. He climbed over the fence and walked over to the other side. The Dark Hunter corpses had turned to ash, leaving behind only 27 Dark Hunter loot boxes. Wu Qi picked them up, one by one, and opened them all. Received, Void Crystal X1. Received, Void Crystal X1. Received, Void Crystal X3. Received, Void Crystal X1, Void Origin Stone X1. Bad luck, huh? Wu Qi was a bit disappointed. His luck with the loot boxes was worse than yesterday. Opening 39 void crystals only got him 1 void origin stone. Hopefully, there'll be better drops tomorrow. Wu Qi shook his head and headed back at the territory. Wu Qi realized Lin Daiyu was awake. She had her hair up in a jade hairpin, looking pretty and cute. "Did I wake you?" Wu Qi asked, walking over. Lin Daiyu shook her head. "I felt the monster invasion, so I got up." "Right, you've got 200 in physical fitness," Wu Qi realized. Remembering something, he quickly pulled out a set of toiletries from his inventory. "We don't have anything fancy yet, so use these for now." "It's fine." Lin Daiyu took them, her delicate body swaying slightly as she walked away. Wu Qi smacked his lips, watching her go, then turned his attention to the new territory building rewards, 3 in total, all pretty standard. "Sweet, a toilet," Wu Qi grinned. "How's a new lord supposed to handle that particular problem?" Because of the newbie trial restrictions, most people wouldn't waste their starting building slot on a toilet. Chapter 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A famous dead guy, Thomas, once said, "The endless void contains everything, even crap." So, when most newbie lords don't have a John, they just find a spot outside their territory to do their business. With a toilet, Wu Qi could ditch that embarrassing situation. He glanced around, thinking his 200 square meter territory was already feeling a bit cramped. Plopping down 3 more buildings wouldn't work. Gotta upgrade the territory first. Wu Qi opened the territory panel and checked his stash. He had a total of 47 void source stones. P.S. Please collect. Chapter 15, Territory Upgrade. Spirit Field. Moon Well. 3/4. Please collect. Like void crystals, void source stones are crucial for a lord, but their uses are different. Void crystals can be traded, used to summon heroes, troops, repair buildings, boost inventory, and so on. Void source stones, on the other hand, are bound to the individual lord and can't be traded. They're essential for leveling up. In gaming terms, void source stones are like distributable experience points. You need them to level up your lord, your territory, your hero's troops, and your buildings. For regular lords, both types of void products are equally important, but for trust fund babies, people from big families, and the well-connected, void source stones are a major bottleneck. That's why, in this era of national lords, talent trumps pedigree. Except for screwing. Wu Qi chuckled and opened the territory panel. Territory, unnamed, belongs to Wu Qi level 1/0/10, area, 200 square meters, owned buildings, hut, level 1, fence, level 1, steel armored shack, level 1, pyroblast tower, level 1, stinky fart tower, level 1, residence, 1. Territory trait, Queen's Ascension. Wu Qi fed the void source stones into the system. 0/10, 10/10. Upgrade successful. Area, 200 square meters, 500 square meters. The instant the panel changed, the territory expanded silently in all directions. The gray fog receded, revealing new wasteland and a few gnarly boulders. Wu Qi glanced back and nodded, satisfied. The territory had more than doubled in size, definitely enough room for those 3 new buildings. Still got 37 void source stones, saving those for later. No rush. Wu Qi thought for a second, then looked at the fence. Right now, it only enclosed the cabin, not the entire territory. Switching to the lord perspective, he moved the 2 arrow towers to the outer corners, then shifted the barracks to the other side. Now, the fence had a big, empty area again. That's the power of a lord. The lord's heart doesn't just give you information, it gives you the power to move buildings around and set up your territory the way you want. Next, Wu Qi pulled out the blueprints for the 3 new buildings and looked around. He tucked the toilet in a corner next to the fence. He placed the plowing field and water well inside the fence. Near the cabin, the 3 blueprints swelled up and instantly transformed into the real deal. Fertile land was cultivated, an old school well appeared, and a modern bathroom popped up. Farming, plus, toilet, plus, water well, plus, no doubt about it. time for the mechanical kidney to work its magic. Again. Time to cheat again. Just hoping it doesn't end up like Sabi's stinky fart tower. Wu Qi's face changed, and he couldn't help but pray. Just then, Lin Daiyu came over. She noticed the territory's expansion. Since she was summoned, she had the relevant memories and knowledge, so she wasn't surprised. Sir, is something the matter? Sister Lin offered her help. I'm good. Wu Qi snapped back to reality and clicked the 3+ signs. Instantly, a 5-colored divine light engulfed the 3 buildings. For just a moment, the light faded, and the 3 buildings were drastically transformed. The fertile soil had become snow-white earth with a fluorescent glow, the well had grown several times larger and was no longer a pump type, the well was full of water. The toilet was now much more luxurious. Looks pretty decent, at least. Wu Qi was ecstatic and quickly opened the property panel. Spirit field, type, plowing, level, 1, 0/200, function, planting, traits, spiritual soil, level 1, output x 1000%, area, 100 square meters, introduction, high-quality spiritual fields used by immortal cultivators to grow spiritual rice. Works even better with the spiritual rain technique. Spirit field. Output is 10 times higher. Wu Qi's eyes lit up, and he took a deep breath. Looks like the golden finger is stacked after all. Magical farmland is common for lords, but a spirit field with 10x output at level 1 is insanely valuable. Jackpot. Wu Qi sighed in relief and looked at the second one, moon well, type, water well, level, 1, 0/200, function, moon liquid, condenses moon liquid every night, traits, blessing of the moon, level 1, instantly restores a certain amount of physical strength, instantly restores a certain amount of energy, and provides some healing ability. Inventory, 10 out of 10, nightly recovery speed, 1/night, introduction, the secret treasure of the Silver Moon Elves, blessed by the Moon Goddess, contains incredible power. Yes. Another winner, Wu Qi grinned. Chapter 13. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Turning a regular well into a hidden treasure felt like hitting the jackpot. Eagerly, he checked the 3rd building stats panel. Chapter 16, The Language of Roses. The farm. 4/4. Please collect. Language of Roses, type, toilet, level, 1, 0/200, function, sewage disposal, traits, rose scent, level 1, when inside this building, training speed plus 100%, description, a fragrant toilet with an intoxicating aroma, Wu Qi. Seriously? I should have known better than to get my hopes up. His face fell, he almost choked. Theoretically, this toilet is a goldmine. At level 1, it boosts training speed by 100%, if those cultivation fanatics found out, they'd lose their minds. But, who trains while squatting on the toilet? Toilet fairy? Grand Poobah of the Privy? Crap, Wu Qi's face twitched. He took a deep breath. I haven't even started training yet, and my only hero hasn't either, so, for now, the toilet is useless. Forcing himself to stay calm, Wu Qi gathered his wits and explained the new building to Lin Daiyu. Listening, Lin Daiyu gave a small nod and asked gently, "Thank you, sir, but, did you bring the seeds?" "Yep. Got a whole pack," Wu Qi replied. It's not like he's some total noob lord setting up a new territory. There are guides everywhere online, so he's not totally lost. He couldn't afford the top-tier stuff, but basic necessities weren't too expensive. He dug around in his inventory, and a packet of seeds materialized in his hand. The packet contained several common types, like carrots, potatoes, rice, and wheat. Sir, are we short on food? Lin Daiyu considered this and asked again. Wu Qi grinned. I brought enough for 100 people for a month. That's enough for now, but long-term, if you want to build up an army, you'll want high-yield crops. The pretty girl pointed her intelligent eyes toward the steel-armored hut. Hearing that, Wu Qi nodded, understanding. If we don't get a new barracks, eventually, we'll probably just end up mass-producing steel-armored boars. So. What do wild boars even eat? Wu Qi wondered. Wu Qi was stumped, and sweat broke out on his forehead. back in the real world, you feed pigs slop and leftovers. Now, there are regular and magical feeds, but who knew summoned wild boars would be so picky? All Wu Qi had brought was basic human food, he'd planned it for the militiamen. Master, but when Lin Daiyu noticed Wu Qi was taking a while to answer, she spoke in confusion. Huh, that Wu Qi snapped back to reality. Young master, you don't know. Of course, I know. Just grow carrots, they're nutritious. That Wu Qi waved his hand, making a decision. Lin Daiyu frowned slightly, sensing something was off, but she was also new to this, so she kept her feelings to herself, grabbed some carrot seeds from the bag, and got ready to plant. Seeing her pass by, Wu Qi felt a little sheepish. Looking around, that he walked to the fence, snapped off 2 wooden bars, and turned back to help. Durability-2 fence. 1 acre of land can hold maybe 200 to 300 seeds, but the Lord's building is different, it's smaller than an acre. Plus, this is a spirit field, so it doesn't need too much effort. As the two of them started, the spirit field gave a warning, maximum 100 seeds. Wu Qi gave her a wooden stick, and they planted carrot seeds one by one according to the grid prompts. Then, that Wu Qi pulled a bottle of water from his inventory. Just as he was about to use it, he remembered the well of the moon. The liquid of moonlight is supposed to be magical. Would it have any effect on the spirit field? No time like the present. Wu Qi put the water away, grabbed his wash basin, and went to the well of the moon. The moon well's inventory is 10, where 1 inventory equals 1 ton of water. That means it can hold up to 10 tons of moon liquid. As a magical territorial building, the moon well is protected from intrusion. No dirt, random water, or stolen goods can fall into it. It can condense 1 ton a night, and the inventory can be refilled with void crystals. The moonlight liquid is free to use. Wu Qi scooped out a basin and went back to the spirit field. Sir, isn't it a waste to water the field with water from the moon well? Lin Daiyu asked with a slight smile. Wu Qi shook his head. Don't worry about using up the water, and moonlight liquid is amazing. I want to see how much of an effect it can have. All right. Sister Lin nodded and helped Wu Qi water the spirit field. Soon, the watering was finished, mist rose from the spirit field, like a fairy grotto. Mountains and rivers were visible in the mist. It was incredible. Seeing this, Wu Qi figured the spirit field was doing its thing. Lin Daiyu was slightly stunned and murmured, it really is like a fairyland. If Xuanhuan were here. Her voice trailed off. Meanwhile, Wu Qi opened the attribute panel. P.S. Please collect. Chapter 17, Skill Book, Equipment. 1/4. Please collect. Carrot. Type, plant seed, level, none, yield, 3000 gene, cycle, 30 days, buff, spiritual soil, yield x10, final harvest is 30,000 gene per cycle, blessing of the moon, 0.1% chance of producing special products. Description, plant carrots, harvest carrots. It works. Wu Qi's eyes lit up. Daiyu, let's use water from the moon well for irrigation from now on. We can also use it for drinking and washing. Yes. Can the well water be used for drinking and washing? Lin Daiyu blushed and seemed embarrassed to ask. Chapter 14. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wu Qi just shrugged. Yep. Got it, boss. Lin Daiyu gave a little nod. Hungry? Let's grab some breakfast. Here, have a steamed bun. Time flew by. Because Wu Qi had a ton of void crystals, he wasn't too worried about getting jumped. Day 3. Noon rolled around. Wu Qi finished his lunch and felt a rumble in the gut. He hurried into Language of Roses, to, detox. As soon as he stepped inside, he caught a whiff of something amazing, subtle but noticeable, spreading a wave of comfort all through him. Suddenly, Wu Qi's head was clear, all distractions faded, and he felt laser-focused. Is this the plus 100% cultivation speed in action? Wu Qi wondered. Perched on the throne, he wasn't high enough level to start training yet, and didn't have any skills. This buff was just sitting there for now. Even so, he could feel the clarity. No wonder it's good for training. Ah, that's the spot. Wu Qi closed his eyes. Suddenly. Out of the gray fog beyond the window, dark shapes materialized. Monster invasion, Wu Qi yelped, but he was stuck at the critical moment and could only work the defenses remotely. The monster coming in was a gorilla on steroids, small head, huge arms, covered in shaggy gray-black fur. Roar! The monsters bellowed and stomped towards the property. Each one was 10 feet tall. Charging like that, they looked like speeding trucks, totally terrifying. And there were a bunch of them, 0.7 in total. Wu Qi peered through the window. He figured the defense tower had a range of 300 to 600 feet and barked out the order. Instantly, on the stinky fart tower, the stone statues coughed out a string of pft, pft sounds. A green cloud enveloped the 7 monsters. They had been super aggressive, ready to wreck everything. In a heartbeat, they turned sluggish and weak. They went from Olympic sprinters to doddering old geezers. These new monsters are pretty tough, but I still need to ID them. Wu Qi nodded, and gave another order. Boom. Fire erupted. A pyroblast shot out, a trail of flames hitting one of the monsters dead on. Bang! Another crater. 0.3 monsters went down in a spray of gore, but 0.4 more, wounded but not dead, were stubbornly clawing towards the fence. Still, thanks to the stinky fart, they were moving like molasses. It took them a solid 30 seconds to cover 300 feet. 10 seconds later, boom. The pyroblast tower delivered again. A second pyroblast incinerated the last of them. Battle over. Calculating rewards, battle results, enemies, 7 level 5 giant beasts, result, total victory. Base reward, 7 void origin stones, bonus rewards, 50 void crystals, skill book, Bajiquan. No new buildings, but a skill book. Wu Qi's eyes flicked over. He flushed and got out of there. Once he hit the flusher, he headed out. All right. Back in the day, they said Yun Chang warmed wine to kill Hua Xiong. Today, Mr. Wu, took out 7 giant monsters while dropping the kids off at the pool. Not bad, right? He climbed over the fence, picked up the 7 giant beast treasure boxes, and started opening them. Got, Void Crystal X2. Got, Void Crystal X1, Void Origin Stone X1. Got, Void Crystal X2, Equipment, True Knowledge Lens. Nice. Score. Wu Qi's eyes lit up. He pulled 13 void crystals, 2 void origin stones, and a piece of gear out of 7 chests. Lucky break. He stashed the crystals and stones, and pulled out the True Knowledge Lens. It was a monocle. True Knowledge Lens, type, equipment, level, 1, quality, common, stats, spirit +1, enchantment, identify, 10/10, description, knowing your enemy is half the battle. P.S. Please collect. Chapter 18 Bajiquan, Elite Monster. 2/4. Please collect. I was just wishing I had an identification spell, and boom, here's an item with identify. Wu Qi's eyes went wide. He wondered if he should wish for a hot fairy wife next. Looks didn't matter. Wu Qi just liked fairies' combat power. After a second he popped on the True Knowledge Lens and pulled out Bajiquan. Bajiquan. Quality, common, description, learn this to unlock the national martial art, Bajiquan. A martial art, good enough to get started. Wu Qi nodded. In this era, national martial arts were just a ripple in the sea of power systems, might not amount to much later, but it was a good starter skill. Chapter 15. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But, he's not the right fit for this. Bajiquan is too intense, too powerful. It's not for a gentleman like him. Now, Lin Daiyu, who's as tough as nails and could take on the world, she'd be perfect. She might look delicate and sweet, but the truth is, 100 tough guys couldn't handle her fists. Thinking about that white jade fist packing a Bajiquan punch, Wu Qi looked kind of strange, then turned to find Lin Daiyu. She was taking a break in the cabin. When she heard what Wu Qi wanted, her pretty face lit up with surprise. She didn't know about national arts or Bajiquan, but since it was a skill book, it had to be a way to fight. Lin Daiyu didn't doubt Wu Qi's intentions, but she blushed and said, "Sir, this skill book is too valuable." "You don't have any skills," why don't you learn it yourself? It'd be a waste if I did. Just take it. Wu Qi was being blunt and to the point. Lin Daiyu hesitated, a flicker of emotion in her eyes, and she took the skill book. Then, I'll do as you say, sir. As soon as she said that, she flipped through the skill book. Instantly, it turned into a beam of light and flowed into her mind. Lin Daiyu closed her eyes, concentrated for a moment, then opened them and said, so that's how it is. Seeing this, Wu Qi quickly checked Lin Daiyu's hero stats. Lin Daiyu, omitted, skill, Bajiquan, level 1. Bajiquan level, 1, 0/100, quality, white, damage, 5 plus 10% constitution / 10 plus 15% constitution / 15 plus 20% constitution. 40 plus 45% constitution, description, fist cannon, unmatched in power. Skills that can be leveled up directly with void source stones, or you can improve them on your own through combat, training, etc. Bajiquan has 8 moves, and the damage is divided into a base amount plus a bonus. The more moves you know, the higher the damage. This Bajiquan is perfect for you, Wu Qi nodded. Bajiquan was just a basic skill book. If Wu Qi used it, he'd basically be stuck with the base damage, which wasn't much, but give it to Lin Daiyu, and her 200 constitution stat would make a huge difference. The difference between his fist and Lin Daiyu's would be like the difference between a squirt gun and a sniper rifle. With these new skills, I can help you defend against the enemy even better. Lin Daiyu smiled sweetly, happy to have it. A hint of a fighting spirit sparkled on her pretty face as she clenched her little fists, like she couldn't wait to try out the new skills. Worried she'd tear the place down, Wu Qi quickly said, the monster invasion is over for today. Let's try it out tomorrow. I know. Lin Daiyu glanced at Wu Qi, like she could read his mind, and smiled. Day 4 of the newbie trial. Around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Wu Qi walked around the territory, counting the void crystals and void source stones he had. As the saying goes, use the best steel for the blade. When your resources are limited, you can't just throw them around. Wu Qi studied liberal arts for so long in high school, so he knew how to allocate resources for the best results. With money in the bank, you don't panic. Wu Qi thought, relaxed. Suddenly, someone knocked on the cabin door. Lin Daiyu's gentle voice called from outside. Sir, the monster invasion is starting. It's begun. Wu Qi hurried out. At the door, Lin Daiyu pointed to 3 directions. Wu Qi looked around and saw shadows in the fog in all 3 places. Only the 4th day, and the number of monsters is already increasing dramatically. And they're coming from multiple directions. The defense tower can't handle this alone. Wu Qi's mind raced, but he didn't panic. After a moment of thought, he put on the true knowledge lens, waited for the monsters in the fog to appear, and then used the identification technique on one at random. Identification successful. Inventory -1, Elite Dark Hunter, Race, Demon/Void, Level, 5, Constitution, 17. Spirit, 4, Skills, Quick Attack, Throwing Spear, Description, after their world was destroyed by darkness, these wanderers became minions of the void. An elite monster. Chapter 19, Born Knight Wu, 3/4. Please collect. On day 4, elite monsters showed up. Wu Qi frowned. Textbook said most new lords wouldn't see elite monsters until day 10, as the newbie trial goes on, that the enemies get tougher and tougher. The sooner you run into elite monsters, the harder the enemies will be later. But, thinking about it, it makes sense. Wu Di, with his mechanical kidney, is way ahead of everyone else, even without any support from a force or his parents. The altar became the Red Tower. The initial 10 void crystals summoned a legendary hero. The Arrow Tower became the Pyroblast Tower. He's already super strong. The enemies he faces will naturally be a lot tougher than normal. Stay calm. Wu Qi smiled to himself and calmed his face. Elite monsters were coming from 3 directions. All level 5 dark hunters. One direction had the Pyroblast Tower, and the Stinky Fart Tower, so that was covered for now. He'd have to find another way to handle the other 2. Wu Qi thought for a moment, turned back, and said, Dayu, you take one side. I'll summon a steel-armored wild boar and see what it can do. Heroes and units are the Lord's power. This would be a good chance to see how strong the steel-armored wild boar really was. It should be stronger than the militia, right? Lin Dayu nodded, walked over to the fence, and silently watched the monsters in the distance. Wu Qi opened the steel-armored shed panel and chose to summon Void Crystal -5. Steel-armored wild boar +1. The next moment, the shed door opened and a 2-meter-tall, muscular wild boar came out. It was covered in steel armor, even its tusks were made of steel. It looked fierce. Steel-armored wild boar, race, beast, level 1. Chapter 16. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Talent, steel armor, +1, strength, 50, base strength 5, 1000% boost, spirit, 1, base spirit 0.1, 1000% boost, skill, savage charge, level 1, description, a real beauty among wild boars. This armored hog is huge. That steel armor indicates it weighs at least 1,000 pounds, imagine the damage a 1,000-pound hog could do charging at you. And that steel armor talent is awesome. Steel armor, +1. Talent quality, rare, attribute, increased defense, description, steel armor, impervious to blades and bullets. With my territory buffs, this sow is going to be unstoppable. Wu Qi nodded, pleased. Oink. The armored hog nudged Wu Qi, signaling its loyalty. Wu Qi considered this, then, focusing on his sword, he drew it and announced, all right. From now on, you're Peggy. Today, I become a boar rider. He leaped onto her back, facing south. The east and west flanks were protected by a defense tower. And the hero, respectively, only the south was wide open, and the monsters were charging in. Peggy, charge. Wu Qi pointed his sword. The massive hog tensed for a second, then exploded forward, a full-speed tank. Boom! The wind screamed. Monsters nearing the fence suddenly saw a massive boar erupt, its steel-clad bulk slamming into their ranks. Bang! 2 elite dark hunters went flying. Another was less fortunate, crushed under the hog's weight, its body flattened. Wu Qi felt energized, channeling the bravery of a legendary warrior facing insurmountable odds. He roared, and slashed his sword at a dark hunter. Swish! The blade, shattered. The dark hunter, stunned, roared back, trying to attack. But Peggy slammed into him, breaking his arm. On the hog's back. Wu Qi's face fell as he stared at the broken sword. Damn it! Summon. He waved his hand. Void Crystal -20. The doors of the armored pen swung open, and 4 more armored hogs charged out, smashing through the fence and into the monster horde. Full attack. Use wild charge. Wu Qi yelled, gesturing with the broken sword. The 5 hogs paused, then surged forward with renewed fury. Bang! 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 The ground trembled. A dozen elite dark hunters were instantly pulverized, blood and limbs scattering everywhere, total annihilation. Wu Qi, still riding Peggy, surveyed the carnage and smirked. Battle complete. Calculating rewards. P.S. Please add to your collection. Chapter 20, Gauss Rifle, Wooden Walls. 4/4. Please add to your collection. Rewards. Are all the monsters dead? Wu Qi looked at the corpses at his feet, surprised, and turned to the other 2 fronts, the Stinky Fart Tower, and Pyroblast Tower, were as effective as ever. 1 blast of stink gas followed by 2 fireballs effortlessly wiped out the enemy, level 5 elite monsters that were no match for the 2 towers. On the other side, Lin Dayu's work was equally swift. The elite monsters lay neatly defeated, seemingly dispatched in one fell swoop. Now, Lin Dayu stood nearby, looking at Wu Qi with a sweet smile, probably hoping to be praised. It was clear, his side was the slowest. Remembering his broken sword, Wu Qi felt embarrassed. Thank goodness for Peggy. Battle rewards, enemies, 42 level 5 elite dark hunters, rating, SS, base reward, 42 void origin stones, bonus rewards, 250 void crystals, territory building, arrow tower, territory building, arrow tower, equipment, Gauss sniper rifle, territory building, forge. An SS level reward was generous as expected. Wu Qi was only slightly disappointed by the number of void crystals, 250, felt a bit unlucky. But who turns down free money? Wu Qi pocketed the void origin stones and crystals, then examined the other rewards, 3 territory buildings, 2, arrow towers, and a forge, were fairly standard, but the piece of equipment was high-tech. A sniper rifle. Wu Qi's eyes widened. After a moment's thought, he collected them all, then. He began collecting the loot boxes, carefully picking up all 42 elite Dark Hunter killing treasure boxes from the 3 areas. 42 boxes meant he was bound to get something good. Wu Qi was excited as he hurried back to the fence. As he passed by, he saw Lin Daiyu watching him with a smile. "What is it?" Wu Qi touched his face. "Young master was so funny just now," Lin Daiyu said, pursing her lips. Remembering Wu Qi's easygoing nature, she let go a little. Riding a wild boar, charging into the enemy. Chapter 17. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. "That's awesome." Hearing her sweet voice, Wu Qi winced, a little embarrassed. "Yeah, total fluke. You're the boss, dude. Just hang back and call the shots." Lin Daiyu's face grew serious. "We're in the newbie trials now. The monsters are just gonna keep coming, and they'll get tougher every day. Normally, I'd protect you with my life, but let's face it, I'm not exactly Rambo. If things go south." A flicker of worry crossed her pretty eyes. Wu Qi got it. He nodded. "You're right. I'm just goofing off for now, but I'll watch my back from now on." "Okay." Lin Daiyu sighed in relief and patted her chest. Her clothes fluttered, giving a glimpse of porcelain skin. Wu Qi couldn't help but sneak a few peeks, then looked away, feeling guilty. "Let's go unpack this stuff." Back in the hut, Wu Qi rubbed his hands together, eyeing the treasure chests. "Showtime." He ripped them open. "Got 3 void crystals. Got 1 void crystal. 1000 G bread. Got 5 void crystals. Got 8 void crystals, an iron spear. Got 1 void crystal. After cracking open 42 boxes, he'd hauled in 165 void crystals and 10 void origin stones, plus some basics like bread and water, an iron spear, and a wooden wall, to build on his territory. Not bad. Wu Qi was relieved. Overall, his luck had been pretty good this time. The rewards from elite monsters definitely paid off. Especially the wooden wall. Finally, he could ditch that pathetic fence. And even better, the wooden wall was a new building, which meant the mechanical kidney could work its magic on it. Across from him, Lin Daiyu sat at the table, chin in hand, her bright eyes glued to Wu Qi. Seeing him smile, she couldn't help but grin. "Did you get some cool stuff, master?" "Huh, lucky me. I scored some decent loot." Wu Qi nodded and pulled out the Gauss sniper rifle. First, Gauss sniper rifle, category, equipment, level, 5. Quality, common, stats, spirit +3. Ammo, 9mm sniper rounds, range, 0 to 2000 meters, description, a sniper rifle without a scope. Still not bad. Gauss weapons can pack a punch. Too bad in this world, forget magic and the Immortals, even the tech is way beyond Gauss weapons. They were a big deal in my old life, but here. Just another piece of junk. Wu Qi fiddled with it for a bit, then, realizing he couldn't even figure out how to fire it, tossed it into his inventory. Next, he grabbed the building blueprints. P.S. Sorry, folks. Fell asleep. Back to updating. Please save this story to your library. Chapter 2, Step Right Up, Don't Miss Out. 1/4. Please save this story to your library. 2. Arrow Towers, a forge, and the wooden wall. Wu Qi hesitated for a second. First, he opened the territory panel and repositioned his existing buildings. Then, he used the wooden wall. Unlike standalone buildings, the wooden wall could be expanded when placed. Wuqi walled off the entire territory, a 20 by 25 space. Each meter of the wooden wall cost 1 void crystal, total cost 90. Each side also got a wooden gate. As soon as he finished arranging it, the wooden wall blueprint disappeared instantly. Wooden walls and doors sprouted out of thin air around the edge of his land. The wall was 3 meters high and 1.5 meters wide, with walkways along the top. Not bad at all. Wuqi's eyes lit up, and he checked the stats. Wooden wall, per unit, plus, rating, 1, 0 out of 10, function, all-around protection, durability, 300/300. Current units, 90, expandable, description, basic defense that can keep out most enemies. The wooden walls were a huge improvement over the fences, but Wuqi's eyes were locked on that plus sign. That eye-catching plus symbol reminded him that it was time to cheat. When in doubt, cheat it out. Wuqi clicked the plus sign with glee. Instantly, a swirl of rainbow light engulfed the wooden walls, then, poof. The wooden walls changed drastically, turning an ugly, withered black. Withered wood wall, per unit, rating, 1, 0/50, function, all-around protection, durability, 500/500. Current units, 90, expandable, enchantment, curse of blight, level 1, description, anyone who attacks this wall will be afflicted with the curse of blight. Way better defense. And an enchanted building. Wuqi nodded, pleased. Just the enchantment alone made this wall worth a fortune. If you bought it on the market, it'd cost tens of thousands of void crystals, easy. Next up, Wuqi tossed out the 2, arrow tower, blueprints. 2 identical arrow towers appeared. The stats were the same, so no need to waste time. Wuqi clicked the plus sign. 2 bursts of rainbow light shot out from Wuqi and enveloped the 2 buildings. In an instant, the light faded, and the arrow towers looked completely different. The one on the left looked thicker, with a prism-shaped crystal on top and a vine pattern covering the crystal's surface. The one on the right only changed at the top, where a stone carving of a person holding a large crossbow now stood. Earthvine Tower. Chapter 18. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Defense Tower, type, Defense Tower, level, 1, 0/200, function, summons earth vines, 1 inventory per 10 square meters, lasts 10 seconds. Level 1, attack range, 300 meters, inventory, 10 out of 10. Description, great for outdoors, bondage, and maybe a little BDSM. Crossbowman Tower, type, Defense Tower, level, 1, 0/200, function, fires armor-piercing crossbow bolts. Level 1, attack range, 500 meters, inventory, 100/100. Description, these arrows go right through armor, no problem. 1 magic tower, 1 arrow tower, nice. Wuqi nodded, checked the territory panel, and put the pyroblast and earth vine towers in the northwest corner, and the stinky fart and crossbowman towers in the southwest. This setup gave him the best mix of crowd control and damage. Magic on one side, human statues on the other, perfect. Satisfied with his placements, Wuqi looked around. With the wooden wall to protect them, the arrow towers should hold up just fine, and the damage output would definitely be solid. His only problem. The crossbow tower's human statue also looked like him, so, from inside the territory, it looked like one Wuqi statue was mooning the outside world while another Wuqi statue stood guard with a crossbow. Too much, Wuqi sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Next to him, Lin Daiyu saw the arrow towers too, and a smile crept onto her face, but she quickly hid it when she saw Wuqi's reaction. Whatever, 1 forge left. Let's get this over with. Wuqi shook his head and threw the last building model outside the fence. It grew larger as it floated, quickly turning into a small iron workshop, forge, plus. The forge's stats weren't anything special, so Wuqi immediately tapped the plus sign. The familiar rainbow light washed over the workshop. A few moments later, the light faded, and the iron workshop had become a huge alchemy furnace, with a stone statue in a Taoist robe standing next to it. Of course, the statue looked like Wuqi. Refining workshop, type, forge, level, 1, 0/200, function, refining, 1 inventory/item, inventory, 10/10. Description, low-grade magic items wholesale, stop on by. Seriously? It's an alchemy furnace, that Wu Qi grimaced. P.S. Please add to your library. Chapter 22, Magic Items. The Fifth Wave. 2/4. Please add to your library. It was clearly an alchemy furnace, but it insisted on calling itself a weapon forging workshop. Wu Qi was a little annoyed, but he didn't know if he should complain. Still, it wasn't bad. A weapon forging workshop was way better than a regular forge. He opened the workshop interface and had a look. There were two main functions: crafting magic items, which needed templates, and void crystals, refining equipment into magic items, which only needed void crystals. Too bad I didn't have a forge before. My sword wouldn't have broken. Wu Qi thought for a second and pulled out the Gauss sniper rifle. It was a piece of tech. It needed skill, and without a scope, it was about as accurate as throwing rocks. Perfect. He could try refining it into a magic item and see what happened. He followed the instructions, opened the alchemy furnace, and tossed in the rifle. Instantly, a message popped up on the furnace. Insert 100 void crystals, / retrieve. That's expensive. Wu Qi hesitated, but he ponied up the void crystals. Flames erupted under the furnace, and the human statue floated up, circling the furnace a few times. About half an hour later, the flames died down, and the statue returned to its spot. Inventory -1. The lid of the furnace flew off, and a sniper rifle that looked way cooler floated out and circled Wu Qi. It looked kind of like a cultivator's flying sword. From a piece of hardware to a magic weapon, Wu Qi was surprised. He reached out, and the sniper rifle landed in his hand. Gauss sniper rifle, magic weapon, type, equipment, level, 10. Rarity, rare, stats, spirit +5, constitution +5. Ammo, spirit bullets, magazine, 100 out of 100, reload, 1 round/10 seconds. Range, 0 to 2000 meters, description, you've matured, little sniper rifle. Time to snipe enemies yourself. Rare equipment. And it's level 10, Wu Qi grinned, already itching to try it out. Too bad the monster waves were done for the day. Otherwise, he could see what it could do. When it came to equipment, power came from level and rarity. Higher levels meant more power, but they also had restrictions. A legendary artifact might kill a weak person, a legendary magic weapon might choose its owner, locking out anyone else. Even regular high-level armor might be too heavy for someone without enough strength. A suit of alloy armor might weigh thousands of pounds. Right now, it was just a level 10 magic weapon, but thanks to the refining workshop, there were no requirements to use it. Not bad. I can take out enemies from inside the fence. Wu Qi nodded, pleased. He opened his mouth, and the sniper rifle turned into a speck of light and vanished into his stomach. Day 5. 6:30 a.m. With the wooden walls, the new defense towers, and his Boer squad, the territory was pretty safe. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the place. Boom! Wu Qi snapped awake. He turned his head. Chapter 19. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Daiyu blinked, her eyes still a little misty. Is it a monster invasion? She asked. She sat up, gathered the long hair that had spilled across her shoulders, and grabbed a hairpin from the pillow, quickly pinning her hair up. 2 strands framed her face, the contrast making her skin look like flawless jade and highlighting her cute little ears. Looks like it, Wu Qi replied, cracking his neck. He opened his mouth, and a spark of light zipped out, expanding into a sniper rifle that landed in his waiting hand. Let's move. This is the 5th wave, things are definitely going to get dicey. He said, hurrying out of the hut. They both slept in their clothes, so getting ready was a snap. Lin Daiyu sat on the edge of the bed, slipped on her socks and shoes, and followed him out. Outside the wooden walls of their territory, shadows emerged from the fog in every direction, their bodies stiff and swaying like zombies. There were tons of them. A quick glance told Wu Qi that monsters were approaching from all sides, hundreds at least, like a rising tide. This is getting harder, he muttered, his face grimacing slightly. He pulled out the true knowledge lens, and used it to analyze a few. Frost rotting corpse, race, undead/void, level, 6. Strength, 11. Spirit, 0.1. Skill, corrosion attack, description, death is your happy place, elite, frost carrion, race, undead/void, level, 8. Strength, 25. Spirit, 0.1. Skills, corrosive venom, frost breath, description, die in the frost, bloom in the cold. Chapter 23, Rotten Corpse Army. Attacking from all sides. Rotting corpses were everywhere, mostly just the run-of-the-mill kind, but sprinkled in were elite rotting corpses, grotesque and oozing. They staggered out of the fog, creating an eerie atmosphere. The sheer number of them was terrifying. The fog seemed to have been dyed gray and black, their rotten bodies left a trail of frost wherever they went. Wu Qi took it all in, then secretly breathed a sigh of relief. The closest rotting corpse was still about 200 yards from the wooden wall. With this many, precision wasn't a concern. At that moment, the 4 defense towers automatically opened fire. Working in pairs, each pair covered 2 directions, the Earth Vine Tower, summoned vines that snaked out of the ground, and snaring the rotting corpses' feet. Before they could struggle free, a pyroblast roared in, incinerating several at once and sending the rest flying. The Stinky Fart Tower sprayed its noxious fumes, slowing down the already sluggish corpses to a crawl. Before they could even shuffle, the Crossbow Tower peppered them with arrows, piercing their heads. Sometimes even 2 at once. Boom! Thwack! Splurt! The explosions of pyroblasts, the spraying of stinky farts, and the whistling of crossbow bolts filled the air. The combo of crowd control and damage from the towers was effectively blocking the corpse tied in 2 directions, quite a sight. Still, Wu Qi noticed shortcomings. The Stinky Fart Tower, and Earth Vine Tower, could only hit a few corpses at a time. A wider area of effect would be helpful. And by the 5th wave, the Pyroblast Tower, and Crossbow Tower, weren't quite packing enough punch. Ordinary rotting corpses were easy pickings, but the elite carrion could withstand the pyroblasts and piercing arrows and keep on charging. Not high enough level yet. Time for an upgrade, I guess. Wu Qi considered this, then immediately summoned 5 steel-armored wild boars from the steel-armored hut. Void Crystal -25. Individually, the steel-armored wild boars were decent level 1 troops. But thanks to the unique characteristics of his territory, these steel-armored wild boars were all old sows, with stats 10 times higher than normal, instantly surpassing elite monsters. Even their steel armor talent was off the charts. 2 sides each, Wu Qi said. Daiyu, can you handle one? That he looked over toward the cabin door where Lin Daiyu was standing quietly. Hearing his voice, she nodded firmly and said, I won't let you down. She spun around and moved, but her slim frame moved with a thunderous force. In a flash, she was gone. A blur, she leaped over the wooden wall, already pulling out 2 pieces of cloth to wrap around her hands. A faint smile touched her lips as she headed to slay some rotting corpses. Satisfied, Wu Qi waved his hand and led the wild boars to the last direction. He stood in the wooden wall aisle, opened the door, and let the wild boars waddle out one by one, forming a line. The tide of corpses was still about 100 yards away. Perfect distance for a brutal collision. Wu Qi mentally prepared the wild boars for their attack. He reached out, and the Gauss sniper rifle floated beside him. Fire! Wu Qi thought, and the Gauss rifle automatically fired, targeting a corpse in the distance. The spiritual bullet whizzed through the air and, with a sickening snap, shattered the corpse's arm. Powerful. Good thing it was refined into a magic weapon. Wu Qi grinned. Monsters like these corpses that didn't feel pain weren't usually bothered by firearms, but the spiritual bullets packed a much bigger punch than ordinary sniper rounds. Keep going, swish. Swish. Swish, a proper sniper rifle should learn to fire on its own. One by one, the spiritual bullets tore through the air, inflicting serious casualties. Soon, the corpses were only 20 or 30 yards away. Wu Qi narrowed his eyes and gave the order. Brutal collision. Boom! The ground trembled. 10 wild boar Peppa Pigs unleashed their skills simultaneously, transforming into pig-sized tanks that flew forward with incredible force. Bang, 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 in the blink of an eye, dozens of rotten corpses were sent flying. Chapter 20. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Even the strongest zombies in the horde got trampled, which sucked. Then, the Peppa Pigs, protected by their steel armor, charged right through the undead, tusks blazing. Looks like Team Page can handle things, Wu Chi sighed in relief. Yeah, these steel-armored boars got a major boost from the young master's power, they're at least 10 times stronger now. From the side, a soft voice spoke up. Wu Chi quickly turned and saw the pretty woman, not a speck of blood or dirt on her. Did you take care of your side? Wu Chi, surprised, glanced over to where Lin Daiyu had been fighting. In the distance, hundreds of rotting corpses, elites and regular ones alike, were piled on the ground. Perfectly. Wu Chi. Chapter 24, Defense Tower Upgrade. 4/4. Please collect. She's only level 1. Is Lin Daiyu really that strong? Wu Chi was speechless. Lin Daiyu is a legendary hero type, but she only has one basic white skill. She's not exactly overloaded with abilities. Even so, just relying on her incredible stats, she easily wiped out the monsters coming her way, handled things in no time, and then ran back to protect Wu Chi. Looks like I should focus on developing heroes and troops, Wu Chi thought, a smile spreading across his face. Nice work. Master, can I help you with anything else? Lin Daiyu smiled, her delicate face showing a hint of tenderness. They say women are like water. Lin Daiyu was like a fresh spring, soothing your soul, like a cool breeze. Sure, why not? Show me what you can do. Wu Chi smiled and swallowed the sniper rifle. With Lin Daiyu around, the level 10 magic weapon seemed useless. As you wish, master. Lin Daiyu nodded, gracefully leaped off the wooden wall. Each step was small, but covered dozens of feet, and she was instantly in the thick of the fight. Right now, the Peppa Pigs were going head-to-head with the zombies. As soon as Lin Daiyu arrived, a zombie lunged, trying to take her down. She stayed calm, stepping forward, her entire presence shifted. Like a roaring tiger, her fair hands a blur, she weaved through the zombies. Snap! A clean sound, then, one by one, the zombies dropped. Lin Daiyu didn't stop. Elaborate and powerful moves, one after the other, graceful yet deadly. 2 completely different personas in the same person. Somehow it worked fast. She was incredibly fast. Before the Peppa Pigs could even react, the remaining zombies were on the ground. At the same time, Wu Chi got the notification. Battle over. Calculating rewards. Battle report. Enemies. 431 level 6 frost zombies, 187 level 8 elite frost zombies. Battle result. Complete victory. Rating, S rank. Base reward, 618 void source stones. Bonus rewards, S rank 300 void crystals, 300 void source stones. Skill book, Frost Breath, rare class change item, Frost Archer, territory building, Frost Tower. Over 600 monsters. Wu Chi's heart sank. It's only the 5th day, and the number of monsters is already over 500. It's scary to think about how bad it will be on the 10th, 20th, or 30th day. Higher risk, higher reward. Gotta move faster, every step of the way. Wu Chi took a deep breath, his eyes hardening. Lots of monsters. It's not all bad. At least there are more void source stones, making it easier to upgrade buildings and heroes. He looked back and saw the wooden wall had taken a little damage, not a huge problem, but the 5th wave got the monsters right up to the wall. The 6th wave tomorrow is going to be rough. Upgrades are essential. Forget the wooden wall for now, upgrade the defense towers first. No time like the present. Wu Chi opened the attribute panels of the 4 defense towers. Because the territory is level 2 now, both Wu Chi's level and the building's levels can be upgraded. Void source stones, -200. Fire explosion tower, level 1-2. Function, pyroblast, level 2, 1 shot / 10 seconds, void source stones, -200. Stinky fart tower, level 1-2. Function, Weakening Gas, Level 2, 1 Cloud/Second, Void Source Stones, -200. Earth Vine Tower, Level 1-2. Function, Earth Vine Summoning, Level 2, Void Source Stones, -200. Crossbow Tower, Level 1-2. Function, Piercing Arrow, Level 2, just like that, 800 Void Source Stones vanished, and all 4 defense towers grew, shining faintly. Lin Daiyu jumped back and saw the changes in the towers. She realized Wu Qi had upgraded them. She perked up. Sir, maybe, we should upgrade the altar. Having another sister to protect you would put my mind at ease. The altar, including the Red Mansion, gains additional hero slots when upgraded. A level 1 altar can only have 1 hero, only when a hero dies in battle or gets kicked out of the territory can a new one be summoned. Upgrading the altar gets a new hero slot, and unlocks the hero level cap. Upgrade, Red Mansion. Wu Qi looked at Lin Daiyu and considered it. P.S. Please collect.